Hi everyone, The Wizards of Once, Twice Magic, Chapter 12, A Bad Moment for Your Escape to Get Held Up. As they all looked upward in horror, mouths open, at the great dark nightmare hanging above them like a sword about to drop from above, it was a little wobblier and harder to read, for Eleanor Rose was now very far away, on the way back to the pole where she belonged. "The giant and I promised the king witch we wouldn't kill him if he brought you all to this place together," said Eleanor Rose, sprite writing. "I've frozen him for the moment, but the further I get away from this castle, the harder it is for me to keep him that way, so I repeat, you will have a bit of a head start, but you need to get out of here as soon as you can." "Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother," moaned Zar, drawing the enchanted sword. "Sorry about that," finished the sprite writing, getting fainter every second, "but the ends justify the means. A fine outcome excuses a bad method. All in pursuit of a higher good, you know. You'll understand when you're older. Oh, 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 oh. They scrambled to get off the giant's table and out of that hidden hall before the thing moved. The sprites launched themselves into the air. The humans leapt down to the backs of the snowcats, who ran down the table legs, scrambling to get across the hall and escape from the castle before the thing woke up. Up out of the hall and onto the courtyard, the sprites zooming overhead. However, as the sprites and the animals emerged, shrieking and running as fast as their paws could take them into the daylight, an unwelcome sight met their eyes. While they had been listening to the story, their pursuers had finally caught up with them. Tiffin Storm gave a cry of distress, pointing her wand into the sky, where up on the southern ramparts were climbing rogue breaths, giants, wizards, and the drifting ghostly shapes of druids. A golden eagle and a gyrfalcon flew in through two of the broken windows and then swooped low over the heads of Wish and Zar and Bodkin as they rode the snowcats through the ruined castle. "Oh, brother," cried Zar, turning his head to look up. "This is really going to hold us up." "What is that?" said Wish, riding Night Eye right behind her. "My father," said Zar. "That's my father." "How can that be your father? It's a bird," said Bodkin. Even as he said it, he knew it was a stupid statement. The golden eagle and the gyrfalcon wheeled slowly around and hovered in front of the children. The long wings of the golden eagle turned into arms and the body into the human form of Encanso, and he landed lightly and coolly on the ground. The gyrfalcon's wings transformed into the long trailing sleeves of the druid commander, and he gave a grunt of satisfaction as he landed on the broken floor of this castle. "Split up! Dodge!" yelled Zar and the snowcats were, but it was already too late. They were surrounded. The spelling staffs flew out of their pouch on Zar's back and into the hands of Encanso and the druid commander. Birds flew in from all corners of the broken castle, peregrines, crows, seagulls, and transformed into hovering hooded druids, landing with their long, ominous sleeves trailing behind them. Wolves, bears, snowcats, mountain lions appeared, each with a wizard on its back, armed for battle, and they took out their staffs, and the castle rang with magic spells of overcoming, so that Wish and Zar and Bodkin could barely move, and Bodkin struggled for breath. "Going somewhere, Zar?" said Encanso. And Zar cursed his father loud and long as the spells from Encanso's staff carried him up into the air, legs dangling furiously. "Let me go!" shouted Zar. "We need to get out of here right now. There's a king witch about to unfreeze in the chamber below us." "You will excuse me if I do not believe you, Zar," said his father in a voice of steel, "for you have lied to me so many times in the past. We are here to take you back to Gorman Crag. You were put in Gorman Crag to try to help you, but it seems you are determined to prove you are beyond help." "Why do you never listen to what I say?" raged Zar. "That druid there thinks I am incurable. He just wants to keep me there forever. I am never going back to Gorman Crag, father. Anyway, this is all beside the point, because as I just told you, there's a king witch about to attack." Wish stepped forward. "Your son is right, sir. He's telling the truth. There really is a king witch down there." Encanso gave a start as he took in Wish and Bodkin for the first time. "Who are you? And why are you with my son?" There was no good answer to this. "Oh," said Wish, "I'm a nobody. I'm nothing at all. I'm a friend of Zar's, but nobody important. I'm a... What on earth could she be? Well, Wish was desperately trying to think of a satisfactory answer to this question, an ice-cold voice came floating out on the air from the right-hand side of the circle, where all of the wizards, druids, and giants were gathered, a voice as cold as a frost drop and as sweetly pure as the point of a freshly sharpened knife. "She's me daughter," said Queen Sycorax, sweeping into the broken castle for all the world as if she were entering the Emperor's imperial crown room, far away in the warrior capital, "and your son has kidnapped her in an act of war." Chapter 13. Two angry parents. "Oh, great!" moaned Bodkin in an agony of agitation. "Now everybody's here! We're never going to get Wish away at this rate!" It appeared that Bodkin was right. Down in the chamber below, the dark frozen shape of the King Witch was twitching, rocking, as if it were going to unfreeze any second. But the humans up above were too concerned with their own problems to worry about him. The words were hardly out of Queen Sycorax's mouth than one of the magic hunters threw a net woven entirely out of iron wires around Encanso. Encanso's magic blazed out uselessly as the net tightened around him, and the witch smellers stepped forward and placed iron manacles around his arms. As soon as the iron touched Encanso, Zar was released from the spell that held him, and he dropped heavily to the ground. It all happened so quickly no one had time to blink. "Do not move! We have captured your leader. No one move. One attempt at a spell, and we will kill him!" cried the witch smeller. "Ambushed!" swore the druid commander, cursing under his breath. "I knew that boy would lead us all into a trap. He should be locked away underground forever, and we should throw away the key." All around the circle, the magic things crouched low, growling. The sprites burnt bright with alarm and fear. The rogrebreaths and giants grumbled deep in their great chests. But they dared not attack when their leader was immobilized and at the warriors' mercy. Queen Sycorax's warriors trooped into the broken castle. The moonlight glistened off their iron helmets, their bristling weaponry, their magic catching equipment. Some were riding horses, others giant grey wolves. "Forest destroyers," hissed the wizards. "Wicked magic users, followers of witches," shouted the warriors. "Well poisoners, child stealers." Encanso was incandescent with annoyance to find himself overpowered and in chains so easily, and his expression became even more furious when he clapped eyes on Queen Sycorax. She was looking more beautiful and splendid than ever, in the manner of a particularly spectacular polar ice cap. But her eyes were bleaker than midwinter frost, and great thunderclouds steamed off Encanso's head, dark with electric fury. So the atmosphere was, well, how can you describe it? Tense. Imagine the foreboding crackle in the air and the spine-jingling fizz in the ground below you. If you just so happen to be standing on the edge of a volcano, about to erupt, and then multiply that feeling by about 20, and you will possibly have an impression of what it might have been like on that ill-starred moonlit night when Queen Sycorax met King Encanso on the heights of Castle Death. Not even Wish's hopeful gaze could make out the slightest remains of past love in either of the two monarchs' eyes. In fact, you could even say that they were glaring at each other in what could possibly be described as most lively and absolute hatred. Queen Sycorax had her own reasons for being particularly irritated at being dragged against her will to this god-forsaken blast of a doomed castle. She had been here before, long ago, when the castle had been in considerably better condition, and she did not like being forced to confront past deeds, and to be made to discover the ruin that the castle had become, possibly, who knows, as a consequence of her own actions. So, Queen Sycorax was not in a good mood, as she stepped disdainfully across the broken rubble in her gold slippers. "Good evening, Queen Sycorax," said Encanso, with bitter, icy politeness. "Ambushing a fellow royal in neutral territory rather than meeting them in open battle is treacherous and against your own warrior rules. But I gather your excuse this time is that in some unknown way to ourselves we have declared war on you." This seems like an unwise way to address a warrior queen who has you in handcuffs, but Encanso was a little too angry to be wise in that moment. Queen Sycorax might have been in a bad mood, but it took quite a lot to get her properly angry. People were so terrified of her, anger was rarely necessary. However, it turned out that this would do it. "There is no question of excuses," said Queen Sycorax in a voice spitting like a nestful of infuriated hornets. "Your repellently out of control and rude little son has declared war on our nation by kidnapping my daughter, presumably on your orders." "I am not repellently out of control and rude," snorted the Tsar, furious to see his father and his people overcome so humiliatingly easily by this dreadful queen. "And if we were in trading insults, you have the largest nose on a queen that I have ever seen." Queen Sycorax flinched. The entire courtyard took in a breath, for Queen Sycorax did have, as it happened, rather a large nose. It was a splendidly, royally, beautifully large nose, but a trifle on the enormous side of medium nonetheless, and she was a little sensitive about it. Queen Sycorax's eyes sharpened to splinters. "What did ye just say?" "Big nose!" shouted Tsar. "Cowardly, flat-footed, no-hearted, evil destroyer of forests, skulking behind your wall while we wizards get destroyed by witches. You have a nose the size of a meteorite. You have a nose the size of a tower. You're the wickedest woman in the whole forest, but you also have the nose the size of a planet." "Be polite, Tsar," said Caliburn in an agonized fashion. "You're talking to the person who has the power to kill your father." "It is entirely unsurprising that the boy should be so rude," raged Queen Sycorax. "Just like father, like son." "But in this case, I disagree with Tsar entirely," said Encanso. "You, Queen Sycorax, have always had the most beautiful nose in the Wildwoods. It is your heart that is the problem. The owner of the most beautiful nose in the Wildwood is also a queen who has no conscience. The most beautiful nose in the Wildwood fled in and out with temper." "The cheek of it! You and I and your entire magical people have only been allowed to exist because of my mercy," said Queen Sycorax. "And I haven't left you to be destroyed by the witches. I've personally hired this man here to get rid of them for me." She pointed to the witch smeller. Encanso sniffed. "One look at this man tells me he is not the right person for the job." Sycorax's temper was not improved by the fact that she secretly agreed with Encanso on that point. "Enough of all of this," she snapped. "I've been patient with you for way too long. Encanso, you must give me your solemn word as a king that you will stop using your magic right here, right now, and order your followers to do the same." The gathered magic people gave furious murmurs. "No, mother, no," cried Wish. "For goodness sake, everyone, please just listen to me. This isn't the time for doing this. We're going to need all the magic we can get because there's a king witch about to attack just in the chamber below us." But Sycorax was too concerned with her fight with Encanso to listen to Wish. "Ye must stop using your..." Wrong accent. "You must stop using your magic, Encanso," said Sycorax, "or I'll give the word for me warriors to attack." Caliban flew between them both. "Sycorax, you know you do not mean that. The wizards and the druids do not have a hope of fighting your soldiers, for you are armed with iron." "Ah, but I do," said Queen Sycorax with a glittering smile. "How strange," mused Encanso, "for you to ask me to stop using magic when I have heard rumours that you are not above dabbling in magic yourself." Queen Sycorax blushed. "Sometimes a queen can break the rules in pursuit of a higher good. The ends justify the means. A fine outcome excuses a bad method." "Oh, is that what we believe now, is it? How extremely convenient," said Encanso, raising an eyebrow. "Fight them, father!" shouted Tsar. "Your father is not the invincible person that you think he is, boy," said Queen Sycorax, contemptuously quivering with temper. "You see him as a terrible powerful magician. But a little touch of my iron and see how weak he is. My father is not weak, said the Tsar. He is the strongest person in the world. No, Tsar, the Queen is right. Here with my hands in iron manacles, said the enchanter with a smile, my magic is useless. But however clever Sycorax may be, she still has much to learn. She can kill me, but I will still be here, and magic cannot be destroyed. It can only be hidden. I hate magic. Magic is disorder. Magic is shortcuts. Magic is chaos and anarchy. Choose, she said. I choose that you should attack us, said the enchanter. The Queen looked at him in astonishment. She stamped her foot. Choose wisely, she cried. I have chosen wisely, said the enchanter. He laughed, and that infuriated Sycorax even more. Was it not the choice that you wanted? I'm trying to find a civilized way out of this mess, said the Queen in exasperation. I didn't want violence any more than ye. Giving up your magic will still leave your people with a contented, happy way of life. Look at us warriors. It is very hard to be a leader, is it not? Said Encanso. Sometimes hard decisions have to be made. You gave me a choice, and I took it. Now you have to let your warriors attack. The Queen looked at him in a baffled fury. Queen Sycorax was a very, very tricky person. But it is possible that the Queen had been out-tricked. No, she said sharply. Too late, whispered the witch smeller, moving forward, purring. He chose death. The witch smeller stepped forward, sword drawn. Encanso braced himself for the final blow, and Queen Sycorax leaned forward and knocked the sword out of the witch smeller's hand. What are you doing? Said the witch smeller. Oh, for goodness sake, you stupid witch smeller, snapped the Queen. Don't you know anything? I can't possibly murder an unarmed enemy king in cold blood, however much he may thoroughly deserve it. Encanso's expression was unreadable. Surprise, satisfaction, relief, anger, despair warred for supremacy in his face. But eventually despair won out. You may stop short of allowing your warrior here to slay me, Sycorax, said Encanso, but you do not seem to understand that in taking away our magic and destroying our habitats, you are killing us nonetheless. You leave me no choice, Tsar. You are about to have your way. You wanted war, and you shall have it. At last, said Tsar, his eyes brightening. In his Tsar-like way, his excitement at finally being allowed to fight the warriors in open battle made him momentarily forget the impending doom of the King Witch. At last they were going to stand up to these stupid warriors and show them that wizards could really fight. War it shall be, said Encanso sadly, and maybe, Tsar, you will now see why I have gone to such trouble to avoid it. Magic people, attack. And that's where I'm leaving it. See you tomorrow. Bye.